Record U.S. power demand tests utilities and grid operators. U.S. electricity consumption is set to reach 4,187 billion kilowatt hours in 2025 and 4,305 billion kilowatt hours in 2026, up from 2024 levels, according to the Energy Information Administration, EIA. This surge, one of the sharpest in recent decades, is being fueled by data centers, electrification of vehicles and buildings, and expanding digital infrastructure. What's driving the surge? Data centers, AI, and digital infrastructure. Hyperscale data centers are the fastest growing source of new demand. Their reliance on high reliability power for AI and cloud computing is reshaping load growth. Analysts estimate U.S. data centers could consume up to 9% of U.S. electricity by 2030, compared with about 4% today, IEA. Electrification of buildings, vehicles, and industry. Electric vehicle adoption, new heat pump installations, and industrial electrification are accelerating under federal incentives and corporate net zero commitments. The DOE project's EV charging alone could add tens of gigawatts of new load over the next decade. Clean energy growth and its limits. Wind and solar now generate more U.S. power than coal, ember, but grid integration challenges remain. Interconnection queues, supply chain shortages, and regulatory delays threaten to slow deployment just as demand climbs. Implications for utilities and grid operators. Capacity and reliability. Transmission upgrades are lagging demand growth. NERC has warned of capacity shortfalls in several U.S. regions under extreme weather conditions. Flexibility and storage. Storage and demand response are essential to balance intermittent renewables. Yet, utility-scale battery deployment still faces cost and siting barriers. Regulatory frameworks. Policy uncertainty, particularly around tax credits and interconnection rules, creates risks for long-term planning. Forecasting and planning. Traditional models undercount emerging loads like AI computing. Without sharper forecasts, risks of blackouts and stranded assets rise. Regional dynamics. Texas continues to lead in solar and wind capacity, but rapid growth has stressed ERCOT's grid, with summer peak forecasts exceeding prior records. Mid-Atlantic and Midwest. PJM and MISO face interconnection backlogs that could delay clean energy deployment for years. Southeast, slower adoption of renewables leaves utilities reliant on natural gas, even as electrification ramps. Policy and investment recommendations. Experts recommend streamlining permitting and grid interconnection reforms, incentivizing demand flexibility through dynamic pricing and smart building controls, expanding distributed generation and storage to reduce transmission bottlenecks, ensuring regulatory stability on tax credits and emissions rules, deploying advanced forecasting tools to stress test high load growth scenarios. The U.S. power system is at a turning point. Record electricity demand, driven by data centers, electrification, and population growth, will test the resilience of utilities and grid operators. Decisions made now on infrastructure, policy, and planning will determine whether the U.S. can meet demand while staying on track for decarbonization. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites presented by E+E Leader. For partnership opportunities, reach out to a member of our team.